It seemed like just yesterday we were discussing when Fairy Tail would actually come to the game. And here we are getting the part 2 banner with Erza and Gray. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome you all to this Should You Summon. Of course, we've discussed these guys in multiple videos already. They both have their own dedicated videos together. So if you'd like to check out any of the Fairy Tail stuff, of course, that's all on the channel for you. But without further ado, let's discuss this banner. This banner will be featuring Gray, Erza, Gerald, and Shuri. A very spicy lineup if I do have to say so myself. So let's talk about these newbies real quick. Gray is kind of interesting, but at the same time, I feel like probably the most underrated from this crossover because not everyone will see his value immediately. So this guy is a unit that actually scales off of his luck stat. He has passives that allow him that at the start of the battle he will increase his own arts by his own luck. By the way, at start of the battle does not just mean the start of the quest. That means every time a stage transition happens, Gray will be getting his arts back. And also because of this, they were like, screw it, we're gonna give him a stacking physical damage buff that is permanent. Increase everybody's physical damage by 20% all the way up to a maximum of 100%. And then with the true art, you give yourself damage, you give everybody else arts, at least on its first use, and then you deal 48,000. I'm gonna be honest with you, I think he's the one I want the most to get because I love this guy's art. And I kind of wish he was more nuker. I kind of wish they maybe would have gave him just a tiny bit more true art modifier, maybe like 50k. But overall, I think that he's going to be insanely good for luck farming and more than likely used in other comps and possibly even some nuke comps here and there because his slots, all physical attack, you know, they kind of call for it. And then next is Miss Thickums herself, Erza. Erza, ladies and gentlemen, is this crossover's ramping damage dealer. And man, does she ramp. Kind of wish she could ramp on me, if you know what I'm saying. Hey, yo! With your art, you can increase your own attack by 50% and reduce the enemy's evasion. Whatever. But with the true art, you get a massive multiplier of 65,000. You reduce the enemy's light resistance by 40%, and then you increase your own crit damage by 50% times the number of times the true art was activated, up to a maximum of 250% crit damage up. She has a unique passive that will give her 4 arts per second if she's above 90% HP. Additionally, this passive also says if she's unaffected by any stats elements, she will get the 100% crit rate. So she's somewhat self-sufficient because she has the 4 arts per second into her kit as long as she's above 90% HP. She has the 100% crit rate plus the ramping critical damage multiplier. Granted, you can increase this even further, of course, if you're using other characters. If you use it on a team with someone like Emilia, you can get even more crit damage, and you know, it just goes on and on with that in terms of team building. And she's definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with. The one thing that I will warn you guys all about is that her true art is actually quite lengthy. So don't think that like you're going to be able to get to this 250% crit damage extremely quick. It will take a little bit of time. Of course, if you're going in longer fights, maybe something like a raid, maybe something like an ultra luck event, you more than likely will be able to ramp this up all the way to max. But in most situations, she probably won't need to do it because it's going to be more than enough damage anyway. And thankfully, it's actually on the true art this time, so it's not like you have to use the art. You can use the art if you want to, but you can just spam the true art as much as you want. And I'm gonna be honest, I'll put Erza through the ringer real quick, and I'll say this: I think Erza is gonna be insanely strong in terms of damage, in terms of all that. However, I do think that that is where it ends. She's not anything else. She's just a damage dealer. Her slots aren't necessarily insanely good for team play. You know, she wants to be the main star of the team, and if you put her on a team, you need to make sure that she has support, whether that be with Lucy, because she is actually a light unit, and she's human, by the way, so you could use her alongside Haruto, whoever. Just make sure that she has support, and if you do all that, you'll probably do a lot of damage. In terms of how she would be if like you want to use her as a nuker, I'm not 100% for sure, but I feel like she would be kind of okay if you wanted to use her for that. But that's all I have to say for the first 2 units coming out. As for the others, you know, we got my girl Shuri. You know, ramping damage dealer as well. I think one of the funner units in the game. I just love punching stuff with her. Very good in the mines, especially against Ifrit himself. She's one of the better units to actually use against that. She's not like the best unit to use against it, but she is one of the better units to actually take into that fight. If you get her, you'll probably use her for a bit. Then you may like put her up on the shelf and completely forget about her until like one day you're like, oh, I could use Shuri here. I'm gonna use Shuri. As for the next unit, it's Gerald. Gerald, I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I've always said this every single time he comes up, but passive, insanely strong for a tank. Instant revive as soon as he dies. It pretty much makes him invincible to all damage while he's reviving. Another thing is that I just feel like Gerald nowadays, he's kind of on the weaker end, you know, like in terms of barrier, in terms of tanking, like damage resistance, like he's not doing too great. I think that if you do get him and you're newer to the game, or maybe like a mid-level player and you don't have like Thetis or something, he will definitely help you. And you can use him in places that you could use Thetis, but I will say that it's going to be, in terms of the tanking, a little bit more stressful since he's not as dominant. And then now, ladies and gentlemen, this is where we decide. Is this banner worth the summon? Should we summon on this banner? Should you summon on this banner? I think that if you're looking for meta breakers, you're not getting that here. If you're thinking Erza and them are just going to completely shatter the meta, or Erza is the new How or something like that, I don't think it's actually that great. However, if you are looking for a ramping damage dealer and you happen to be a fan of Fairy Tail, then great. You could get Erza because she's definitely the star of the banner. And if you're newer to the game, this banner is still pretty solid to summon on, just for the simple fact that if you get someone like Gray or Gerald, they'll help you out quite a bit. And just because Erza is the star of the banner, do not sleep on Gray, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you guys, he is going to be the new Kazuma. If you missed Yu Yu Hakusho and you really wanted to get Kazuma, because his kit is kind of similar in terms of gaining arts as a luck unit, in these multi-stage fights where he can get a lot of effect off of his passive, you're going to be able to constantly pop his art and at the same time just increase his damage and increase everybody else's damage, since he does give everyone that 20% physical damage up, and it stacks so he can get that all the way up to 100%. So yeah, I think everyone should at least do your 50 pull if you are interested in this banner. If you think you're interested in Gray, or you think you're interested in Erza, then sure, absolutely do your 50 pull. However, I think after that point, that's where you kind of like decide if you really like Erza, then maybe go for it. Or if you want to be even more, scarce with your crystals, you could wait until the crossover resets, so you get the guaranteed 5-star again on this banner, and you don't just try to go completely deep and just go straight for the pity, because you could wait for the next reset, and if the reset happens, the guaranteed 5-star could be the character you're looking for. But if you don't really care about them, then completely skip the banner. To be honest, you're not really mixing too much with these two due to the fact that they're both just damage dealers. Completely up to you, but that's how I feel about the banner. Tell me down below if you guys are going to be summoning, and if you are going to be summoning, I wish you all the best of luck. We will probably be doing a summon video tomorrow, so you guys can look out for that. Gonna be trying to go for the girl Erza and Gray. I'd be really happy if I get either one, but that's all for this video. Thank you all for coming out. If you enjoyed this video, I highly recommend that you check out either one of the Grand Summons videos popping up on your screen right now. Great content, and guarantee you'll love them. And oh yeah, before you leave, don't forget to drink water.